Welcome to Broke-Ass to Badass, where heart-led entrepreneurs learn to build the businesses and lives of their dreams with confidence, ease, and joy. This is the anti-hustle movement, and we're your coaches in badassery, Kimi and Pua.
Find out more at bledigital.com, and wherever you're listening to this, be sure to click subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Hey guys, do you want to get more results with less effort when it comes to your social media? Yeah, us too. Are you tired of feeling like you have to be online all day long and that there's so much new information to keep up with? This episode is a recording that we did recently for our Facebook community, talking all about social media and what we've learned, what's worked for clients and for ourselves in this journey. And in this episode, we talk about ways to efficiently and joyously leverage the power of this totally weird and wonderful world of social media marketing. You're going to hear us mention our free training next week on social media. It's called Social Media Strategies for the Lazy Entrepreneur. And that's going to be next week, Wednesday, November 21st at 7 a.m. Hawaii Standard, 9 a.m. Pacific, and 12 noon Eastern. And you can register for that by going to bledigital.com/lazy. That's bledigital.com/lazy. We are coming at you today for this live version of our Broke-Ass to Badass podcast. And we're going to be shooting the beep about social media. And so, yeah, we're just going to be talking about social media today. Social media is like top of mind, top of heart for us right now as we are preparing for a super fun training that we are doing next week, Wednesday, which we will tell you all about in today's episode. And yeah, so we're going to be sharing a little bit of a sneak peek of the training and just some of the things that we've been thinking and talking a lot about when it comes to this mysterious, exciting world of social media.
Yep. I'm in the cockpit. I'm sharing to all the things.
Oh, awesome. Pua is so great, you guys. She is like our tech whiz, sharing this to different places so that we can be live all over the place. She's so great at managing comments.
So great at filtering your minds. That's really what I'm doing.
She's so great at managing comments and just like I feel like you're so great at doing multiple things, and I'm so grateful because I like totally shut down. Like I'm great at
multitasking, which is what we teach people not to do.
Well, you know what? I feel like you can be good at, if you're good at it, do it. You're good at toggling for sure. There's something like I always feel like when I'm with you, I'm like, is my brain broken? Because you're so good at being able to like listen and do something. I'm like, I completely shut down. So I'm very grateful for you. It's just another example of why we are power team. I totally didn't even have my mic in front of me. Like I'm sorry. We're
new here.
Yes. So we're going to be kind of sharing a little bit of some of the things that have been coming up and I guess that we've been, as I said, thinking and talking a lot about when it comes to social media, and really like basically like what is it that people want when they talk about, because we have people come to us all the time like, oh, I want to be better at social media. I want to understand social media. I know I need to do this social media thing. And that's often what our clients first come to us for support with. And so what is it that people are actually looking for when they're coming to us asking about social media? And then with that, there's this underlying story that's there, right? Or this underlying feeling of like something is frustrating or sticky about social media for people. So we're going to dig in a little bit about breaking that down. Like, what is it that makes social media feel overwhelming to us or challenging? And then we're going to give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek into what we have, some of the things that we figured out along the way and what we help our clients with, that many of us are kind of perhaps looking at social media in a way that isn't helping us to reach the goals that we have. So yeah, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what why we keep talking about laziness and how we're bringing the sexy back to lazy around here. Sound good?
We can't let that get too far off of out of context, because people will be like, they'll be laying on the couch and the house will be a mess and their kids are crying and their spouse comes home. They're like, whatever, Kimmy Poo said lazy is sexy.
Lazy is the new sexy.
Oh, crap. Yeah, for sure. And I just want to throw a disclaimer out that our social media is super banging, and it's because Kimmy does all of it. But like, I understand the concepts, and I will try to, contribute to this conversation as much as possible. But the thing that really stands out to me when I think about social media in terms of business, and especially for entrepreneurs, especially for small business owners who are the visionary, the integrator, the accountant, the tax preparer, and the social media manager and the deliverer and provider. And like, you are everything to your business. You do all the things, which is why for so many entrepreneurs, small business owners, solopreneurs, online coaches, it's the thing that gets put to the back burner. It doesn't seem important. And you're doing so many other things that to even think about doing social media on top of everything else is just way too overwhelming. And what we really want to drive home is that people's perception of social media is based on the way that they use social media in their personal life. And it is completely different and, quite frankly, a lot lighter, I think. Social media for individuals, like if I go on my Instagram, I see all my friends' kids, and I see, engagements and weddings and things that, travel and things that people are doing. And there's that whole comparison thing and the filtered world, right? And there's all of these articles out there about, okay, social media is so depressing and we don't feel good when we look at other people's posts and this and that. That is all true to some extent, and it exists primarily on your individual personal social media accounts. For business, it becomes a place for you to share, a place for you to connect, a place for you to create relationships, to answer questions, and it really becomes your storefront for online entrepreneurs. So once we can create that shift, it changes everything.
And I just want to say that our social media is a team effort. And it's, so I am my first social media tip for everybody is to get a PUA because we do really so much of the work, the quote unquote work that goes into social media, and especially our social media is based on our big vision, our clarity that we have of how we want to serve, how we want to show up, what our voice is, what our vibe, what our mission is, and what our goals are. And that is what we eat, sleep, and breathe every single day. And so it really is a team effort. And also I want to share too, that this is just what we want to say to you guys is every single day we are learning. And as we learn, we share with you. And so everything that we're doing, it's a work in process. And we are so excited every single day. There's something new in this world of social media. And it's always our mission that as soon as we learn something, we share it. Well, we test it out a little bit first and then we share it with all of you. So what we're sharing today, what we're going to be sharing in our training is everything that we've learned in our journey as online entrepreneurs, what's working for us, what's worked for our clients. And so let's talk first of all, what are people really saying when they say that they want to be better at social media? When it comes to social media, people really want, first of all, people typically, and again, as Pua made the distinction, we're really talking about social media for business. And we know that it can get, and really should get, a little bit blurry when you are a solopreneur that is branding yourself, right? So sometimes it starts to get a little blurry, what is the difference between personal and business? And we can get into that a little bit today. But really, when it comes to social media marketing for a business, whether you're a one-person business or a larger business, people typically want to be able to connect with the people that you're meant to serve, right? That's what you're looking for. You want to leverage social media in order to reach more people. You want to leverage social media to make more sales, to get your message, to get your services out there and products out there to the world. You probably want to be making really great connections, deepening relationships. And the other challenge that, the thing that people are really hungry for is figuring out how to do social media in a way that is consistent and on some level fun. Right. And again, as Pua said, this is like, it can feel so heavy in our business because it's this other thing we have to be worried about. And Pua and I certainly, when we started out, years ago doing our business, it was so difficult to create a consistent social media schedule because we were so deep in the building of our business. And it almost feels like this ping pong match or battle between like, I want to create, I want to do the things, I want to be doing the work. And then, oh my gosh, I forgot to share about it, right? So it's this battle back and forth between being inside and then promoting whatever it is that you're doing. So that's our goal whenever we work with people talking about social media. It's to help you to really enjoy the process and have some fun doing it, be consistent, deepen relationships, and really help you to amplify your message out there in the world.
And we're done. Oh, yeah, for sure. And so people are like, okay, great. I understand this. I get it conceptually, but I realize I have to actually like implement this and take the action. So how do I bridge that gap? And one of the best places that we recommend to start is to just observe your own consumption habits, right? So when you're on your own social media or, wherever you hang out digitally, look at what stops you, what grabs your attention, and how do you interact? What do you typically comment on? What causes you to do that double tap? And and this is very, very different for everybody. Like I am a scroller and I don't typically like people's posts, not because I hate them as humans, but because it's just not how I consume content. So what stops me isn't a photo, it's a video, right? So that's like awareness number one. So for me, if I wanted to do something that was captivating and interesting to other people and to myself, maybe I'll make a video, right? And so connecting it to the way that you consume content as a consumer and also what sounds fun for you. That's the other thing. Like if you hate editing images and graphics and putting text on a photo, don't use that in your social media or outsource it, right? Post a photo that you just take on your phone, add a nice filter if you want, right? And the other thing is the more consistent you can be with your crafting, your content, your graphics, your branding, actually the easier and faster this whole thing is going to be, right? So when we're doing our own social media, like for me, I can spend so long editing a photo. Like I want to find the right filter, the right little adjustments here and there, and 45 minutes later, I have a post. But for your business, what you really want to do is create a consistent look across the board. So you're always going to use the same filter. You're always going to use the same font. You're always going to follow the same pattern. And once you get that locked in, it's so fast, right? So start to become aware of what you like aesthetically, how you interact, what you interact with, and then decide what you want those patterns to be and just build it into your system.
Totally. And you touched upon probably, one of the most important things that everybody should be thinking about before they come up with their social media strategy. And that is, really that big vision, that intention, and having a plan of action. And it's where we start with everything. Like every client that we work with, we take them through a big vision process first. You'll hear us in our training next week that it all starts with that big vision, because what a big vision and really setting your intention, having a clear intention from the beginning, getting clear as we have on, your vibe, your tribe, all of that good stuff, you then know exactly who you're talking to online. And also, where they are online. And often we'll have clients come to us in the beginning and they're like, oh my gosh, I got to be like on here and I got to start Snapchat. And then I heard about this thing and then this other app and should I be on LinkedIn and should I be on Twitter? And it's like, oh, we can all just take a deep breath and instead start with, who are you serving? And where is he or she? What are their habits like? So the more that you deeply, deeply know your ideal client, then it would like talk about, and when we say lazy, what we're saying is efficient. Talk about an efficient approach and strategy, because you're not having to be in all the places all the time. You're really just need to be where your person is exactly when they are online, saying the thing that they need to hear so that you can serve them with your gifts or your product or your service, whatever it is. So intention is so key. And also some of the other things that come up for people that make social media frustrating or irritating or draining, any of the challenges that tend to pop up around that is that and this is so key, and this like became so even more clear as we have been talking about social media more and more recently. One of the biggest mistakes that we make is thinking that social media is this one big thing and this one big task in our business, right? We think about it as like, oh my God, social media, I got to do that thing. And when we do that, we basically are saying that it's like one brain activity, when in actuality, social media has many different parts to it that require different types of thinking, different levels of, maybe there's lower level tasks in social media and higher level tasks. And there's different demands on your creativity. It's basically like different parts of your brain. And so stay with me here for a second, because this I think is so fascinating. And it's where we tend to overwhelm ourselves when we don't need to, and tend to waste a lot of time on social media. So there is the creation of the social media, right? The designing of the post, that very creative thing that is often hard to do on command too, by the way. You may have moments of inspiration, but trying to create on command all the time is really taxing on your brain. So that's a specific type of creative flow that you want to block out time for. And then there is the actually lower level task of, lower brain function. You could do this maybe in more non-peak hours of the actual like loading it all up. This is where you can automate things and get tech in place, leverage technology to get this distributed to every place that you want to go to have your posts be seen. And then after that, there's also the promotion of it and the engagement and the two-way conversation. That's a really different type of thinking and creative, energetic exchange there. So when we start to break down these things, not only can we outsource certain aspects of our social media to other people or to other team members or to technology, but then we can begin to time block and really get into a creative flow. And it brings so much joy to the process. So this is a lot about what we're going to be talking about next Wednesday. So we won't go too deep into it here, but definitely if you want to hear about how to set yourself up for these different types of brain activity that are required for social media, we really feel that this strategy and this system is just going to like blow your mind and open you up to a new way of thinking about your own social media for your business.
Totes. Guys, don't get scared. This is one of those things that sounds like a lot until you do it and you're like, oh, that's it. We promise. So Malia had a really, really, really great question that I think she's asking this, on behalf of the entire entrepreneurial planet. And she said, how do you get people who like your posts to convert to clients? Such a good question. And it's possible. And the thing with social media is you're playing the long game. And this is one of many relationship building channels. So when we coach in our program, we talk a lot about creating a know, like, and trust factor, right? So again, think about the way that you consume social media, the way that you do your research before you buy something. You look at reviews, you look at their social media, you look to see how they're responding. So this really needs to, first and foremost, be a place where everyone feels supported, feels comfortable, feels like they're going to be responded to, they're going to be nurtured, right? So when we think about conversion, what we really want to infuse that word with is relationships, and making sure that every engagement on social media is really being acknowledged, and you're showing gratitude for it. You're showing that you're there to answer questions, to bring support, because they aren't converting, they aren't buying into the Malia on social media. They're buying into the Malia who can help solve their problems, ease their pain, and change the world, right? They are buying into the person behind the phone or the computer. So always, always, always keep that in mind. And, we can think of things in terms of conversions, because that's, helpful and fun in business to think about the numbers, but to also really, really infuse that very heavily with relationship building. And on the webinar next week, we can share some very specific strategies on how to convert through social media and using that channel to actually drive people to a sales page, to your website, to a call, whatever that is that you promote. For now, guys, it's really to nurture on your social. And again, like, you don't have to be on there all the time. And we talk a lot in our course also about your response time, right? Like a text message, an email. These are all things that for some reason now everybody thinks that we have to respond immediately to these things. If I send a text, someone needs to respond right away. If I send an email, I'm constantly refreshing until someone responds. I wish I was kidding. Sometimes I'm not, depending on what the email is. But social media is another thing where it does not have to be that way. So set a schedule. You have half an hour every day at 10 a.m. and that's your social media time. And you go in, you respond to your comments, you love on people, you make sure that they are feeling supported and nurture them, and then get out. Right? That is how we don't let social media suck up all of our time and put us back in that place of, I'm not getting anything done because I'm being on my Facebook.
Yes. Yeah, you're so right. I mean, it's really just about if we can begin to think about, like, bring the social back to social media. We use that word so much that we forget that the word social is actually in there. And social is meant to be, it's like, that's the place where you deepen your relationships with people. And so it's not always about necessarily converting people into sales, although, again, that is possible, and perhaps it's just semantics a little bit, but how can you get people into conversation is a really great question to be asking. And that could be, making sure that they feel heard and feel safe to ask you questions, right? Opening up that space to deepen and extend the conversation longer. So yeah, we'll definitely get into some more specific strategies in our training next week. But yeah, I think if we continue to think about relationship building and also think about talking with people instead of at people, and anything that we can do to get that like two-way conversation going is going to be really, really powerful. And then just showing up with intention to serve and intention to be yourself. Like that's, and you're so great at that, Malia. I'm speaking to Malia right now, but just keep having that intention of showing up and being yourself and being real. And that's really what, no surprise, we're all hungry for in this day and age with social media. We're so savvy as consumers. We're just like, we look at something, and if it's too polished, if it's too perfect, there's almost like a red flag that goes up in our head of like, what's really going on? What's really happening behind that? And so that's actually, I think, a really great thing, because we're, again, becoming more savvy as consumers. We're knowing, we recognize now when we see a filtered image of something or someone. And so, it's just about how can you share more of yourself and get to know people.
For sure. Yeah. And there's like, this is such a black hole. I don't even know how far to get down into this, because, if you're like, well, okay, I like this, I get it, I've implemented a lot of this, I'm ready to outsource this or automate it. There's like so much we can talk about here, and so many ways to relieve yourself of the time and energy that you're spending on social media. But at the end of the day, like, we have to say that we have tried outsourcing our social media before. We've tried hiring community managers and allowing other people to come in and help us with this. And we took it back, not because they were doing a bad job. They were doing a fantastic job. They were absolutely incredible. They were so intuitive and smart, and they would always send us great questions. But at the end of the day, your social media is about connecting your tribe, your community, and your future clients with you. Mm-hmm. So it's so important that you are the one in there, at least to start, and then if you have people managing your communities, be transparent about it. We know somebody who has a ginormous Facebook group that seems so overwhelming to manage, and they do such a great job, and they have several managers, and he talks about them in the group. He'll say, this is my community manager. If you have questions, or, they might guide you to interact in a certain way based on the rules that they've set for the group, because it's just so big and they get so much spam. But it's very transparent, and the person who created the group is still very, very active. He engages all the time. And it's special. If you think about this in terms, again, of like your storefront, and you have people coming in and they know it's your store, how special is it for them to get to meet you and talk to you and have you respond to their questions and their comments? So remember to also bring the human back to this, even though it's digital media, social media, it lives online, it's on your phone, it's on your computer, it's 2D, but there is a human component if you decide that that's something that's very important to you. So just a little something, just be there if you can.
Yeah. And another thing too that I think bears mentioning is that, especially when we're getting started, and that time frame getting started, it can, it's going to be a little bit different for everybody. And there is so much value in continuing to show up, even if you're not sure that people are listening. And this is a interesting, tricky time, right? That can really bring up a lot of stuff for us. And I know that we experienced this for sure. And there was so many times that as we were growing our business, we were like, gosh, we're putting stuff out there. We're putting our heart and our soul out there. And we're like, God, is anybody even listening? And that's a real thing that comes up for us. And in the beginning, there may be some just silent scrollers, and you don't know. You actually don't. We never know with social media. I mean, we can look at analytics, but we never really know how many people are listening, engaging. And we got to just keep going. If you believe in yourself, you believe in your mission, you got to just keep going. And I was talking to one of our members who just started a Facebook group. And so it's small, still very small. And he said the coolest, best, most badass thing that I think we can all learn from. And that is, he said, yeah, no one's really listening yet, because my group is still small. So it's the perfect time to practice. And I thought, wow, that is so good and so true. And we can all remember that the times where you're like, it's a blessing when we're in that stage before our social media has blown up. And when we're in this experimental phase, when we're in the learning stage, we're in the beginning stage, that gives you the opportunity to get a feel for your voice, to try out what works. And what is so important that we tend to do as humans is we tend to we put something out there, and especially in the beginning, and I know we did this all the time, we put it out there, and the lack of response, we make it about us. Like, oh, like, what am I doing wrong? Is what I have to say important or not? And that is, it's like, we need to bring the play and the experimentation and the lightness back to this process. Put stuff out there, and yes, definitely learn, see what lands, but know that whether or not something lands, if you believe in your mission, then it's not a judgment on you as an individual. And it's so important for us to separate that out, because we tend to start getting in our heads about like, oh my gosh, does what I say matter? And we are here to tell you right now, what you say matters. You matter. So keep going. keep getting your message out there, keep trusting, keep playing. Remember that it's just a freaking app. It's just social media, and it's like the Elizabeth Gilbert version of like the big magic, right, of social media. Put out there what you would put out there if nobody were listening. You just have to get it out there because it's what's in your heart and your soul. And trust that the more that you do that, the more that you just continue to serve from that place, people are listening, and you are going to help so many people. And I have one more story to share about that. I was talking to another one of our members who is in the same stage of just beginning to share about her business. And she had that feeling of like, oh gosh, we just had a call yesterday. She's like, I don't know. Are people even listening? I'm not sure. And she had somebody DM her saying like, I've just kind of been watching your posts and I'm interested in what you're doing. So you never know who's watching, even if they're not engaging, right? That it's planting seeds that are all about to sprout.
Can I just tell you guys, like, we put together this keynote for next week, and we compared our social media from 3 years ago to today. And like, Kimi and I are such forward thinkers. We try to celebrate, but we're always like, God, like, why is our stuff growing so slowly? We're so stupid because it's not growing slowly at all. It's growing perfectly. And it's like, we're so, okay. The one thing I will say, guys, is like, I think social media is such crap because only when I think about the way that it is effing with, I'm not swearing because this is on the page in case we like put an ad to this.
Don't shut us down, Facebook.
I want to. It's effing with our minds, and that dang comparison game that everybody plays, right? Like, oh, look at The Rock has like 100 million billion followers. How did he get that? And we only have 5,000. Like, cut that crap out, people. This is not about whoever the F else is out there. This is about you, your service, your gifts, your communities, your people, your networks, and it's growing at a perfect rate. So for us to like put this presentation together and look at our stats. So we used to have another business before this, if you guys don't know, and we had a podcast, we had some social media, and that's pretty much all we had. And it was called Hot Better Pop. And the stats were, we had 181 followers. We had 0 comments per post. We had an average of like 15 likes per post. And I remember we were so excited. We're like, oh, we're almost at 200. And then we're like, oh gosh, do we want to lose all these followers when we rebrand? What do we do? and, right? And then we look at our stats now. We have like almost 6,000 followers, which if you look at an influencer, that is, it's very small. But stop comparing yourself to influencers and compare yourself to who you were last month. You're growing, right? And we have like hundreds of likes per post. We have tons and tons of comments and questions coming in. And it's so beautiful to just take a step back and acknowledge the growth that you've created for yourself. The other thing is, especially because we have a podcast, and on the podcast analytics don't really allow you to see like too much detail. All we can really see is downloads, maybe subscribers. There's not that much. So, and if somebody doesn't leave us a review, which we don't have that many, we'll never know who's out there listening to us. And all the time, we have people coming into our program. How'd you hear about us? Oh, your podcast. We get an email. How'd you hear about us? Oh, your podcast. People all over the damn world. And that is just one of many examples of the way that people silently consume. I used to work for Yelp, and the statistic was like 95% of people use Yelp. I don't know if that's still true, without ever writing a review, but they use Yelp every single time they go to a restaurant. 5% of people were writing reviews for the other 95% of the population. So there are silent consumers everywhere. And as Kimi said, we may never have any clue who's listening. I've said this before. We bought into programs and I silently stopped these people for years. I never said a damn thing, but I was listening. I subscribed to everything, right? So just remember, there is so much power in your voice. And there's so much power in the connection that social media brings in this day and age. Like, we are connected to nearly almost every human on the planet. That is crazy. And it's free. So don't be afraid. Don't be scared.
Yes, I love that. And ever since when was it? Oh, we had that live podcast that we did with Ashley Strong, and she shared her beautiful story with us, and I really hit home and resonated. It moved me very deeply. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, that's going to be releasing next week, Tuesday. Or if you're watching this live, you can see it on our page. And I was so moved by her story. And we had a group coaching call for B2B after, and we were talking about sharing your story, and she just, was we were talking about her story and giving her feedback on the way that it was presented. And I realized in that moment, and I apologized, I was like, oh my God, Ashley, I'm so sorry. I consumed her content, her story. Like, we were interviewing her. I consumed that. I was like so emotionally moved by her story of postpartum depression, and just, I was so touched. Like, I felt teared up as I was listening to her, and I never told her. And until even that moment that we were on this group coaching call together, and I was like, oh my gosh, I am a silent consumer of content. And so what I shared with the group is like, I am really now on a mission of making sure that I let people know, because, people are out there sharing their stories all the time. How many podcasts do we listen to? How many interviews do we listen to where people are so brave enough to go out there and be vulnerable in the name of service? And it is so badass. And I feel like we can do our part by just a simple message. Hey, I heard your story. It's awesome. It moved me, And so I've been like on a personal mission to get out of my own shell, to reach out and just be there to receive that and to hold space for that for others, and to be less of a silent consumer. And, and again, without judgment, like, there are times where we just want to silently consume. There's no problem with that. But sometimes it's just a simple, it's like gratitude, right? Where you can have a gratitude practice all day long and be writing about how much you care about people and love them and appreciate them. But how much more do you amplify that when you take that little extra step to say, hey, you were in my gratitude journal this morning. I just shoot you a quick text to say that meant you mean something to me. So anyway, like, talk about humaning a little bit more. Shout out to Mark Harmon. We say that a lot now. Yeah. Like, how to human. He's helping us to human better. And
stop listening to this and go listen to his episode. Yes. It's worth it. And actually listen to his episode, like, make it a part of your day every day from now.
And then tell him if it moved you. Like, I feel like I got to text him now and be like, hey, Mark, you've been saying human all the time.
We'll just tag him and Ashley and all the people we talked about in this video.
Yeah.
Make it super efficient.
Okay, so let's see. So next week, and the reason we were going to mention the word lazy is because our training next week is called Social Media Strategies for the Lazy Entrepreneur. And really what we're talking about when we're talking about lazy in this context is to be energy efficient. We're going to help you to save time. We're going to help you to get more results with less effort, help you to leverage technology and really just free up your time so that you can do whatever you want, whether that be lounging on the couch, binge watching The Good Place. Is that just me? Or whatever it is that you want to do. We're really here to just like free up time for you so you can enjoy some downtime. You can enjoy your social media. So this training is going to be next week, Wednesday. You have to register for this event. So if you would like the link to register for this free training that we're going to do, it's going to be, again, next week, Wednesday, 7 a.m. Is that right? 7 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. So I don't know, convert that. And
we no longer convert time.
We don't. We're like, what? Oh my God.
I know, actually.
Daylight savings.
Yesterday. So Pacific, that would be 9 a.m. Pacific and 12 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, you're so good. Yeah. So if you'd like the link for that, you can drop the word lazy. in the comments. Drop the word lazy in the comments. I think that'll just be so funny. Just be like lazy.
Hashtag lazy. Oh my God.
Lazy.
So good.
And we'll shoot you a DM with the link for it. So you can register and join us and have fun and learn and have a grand old time. And last thing, guys, if you haven't done so already, grab your free Badass Biz weekly planner that we created. This is our new fun thing, our new free giveaway. We're so excited about it. This is the exact strategy that we use to plan out our business and our life. And actually, it'll be a great complement for this training because this training is about identifying what your big vision is. And this download that we have takes you through that. So you can go to our website, bledigital.com, and just enter your email there, and you'll get a copy of the Badass Biz Weekly Planner. And follow, if you're listening to this on the podcast, definitely, or even if you're listening to this live right now, make sure you're following us on Instagram at Brogas to Badass and tag us there, say hi, and we will see you guys next Wednesday.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, you can join us by going to bledigital.com/lazy to register for our free training next week, Wednesday. That's November 21st, bledigital.com/lazy. See you there.